There we go. Well, welcome back to another stream here there, folks. This is going to be a restart, I guess you might say. Quite a, you know, probably a good like year or two ago. Um, I tried to do a series because I was kind of um I was kind of slacking on an idea that I wanted to do, but I never got it to a point of finishing off the project. Okay, um, got a job, so I had to stop because um, I didn't want. Um, One of the concerns whenever you get yourself a new job is some companies will say like, hey, if you do any kind of side projects or something like that, and you're using our resources, which I mean, I'm using my own computer right at this moment in time, and I have used my computer for, um, you know, work as well. You know, they still might say like, oh, because you're working on this side project, it's technically ours because you're still working on it. And even though it's like, yeah, but I'm working on it outside of normal business hours. But still, you have to be careful when it comes to those kind of things. So I had to stop, and I never got back to it. And so it's just been kind of sitting there, gathering dust. Um, and um, so here's the thing, you know. Now, for those of you that maybe you haven't been watching my streams or anything along those lines, or you've been maybe you've been waiting patiently for me to like you know deliver a new video, um, from this particular series, which I called you know finish what I started. Um, the um, I would like to kind of get this up and running and try to at least get it to be at least self-sufficient. Okay. Now, that might not necessarily be too difficult, or it might actually be difficult. I'm not sure. Okay. I've never ran a website myself. I've never really bothered with it because, to be honest, I never felt like I had um, too much to contribute out there. Or, I didn't feel like I had much to kind of give the world at that point. Like I wasn't like coming up with some like super brilliant ideas, for the longest time. So, but um, you know, I wanted to do um, I wanted to do a website to try to help out others that were struggling. You know, um, you know, I've struggled myself, so I know how it feels, and I would love to try to um, give a resource to allow for others to, um, put down what information that they would like to have out there, to try to help out, you know, to try to get some help. Okay. Um, Huh. That's interesting. Why is he doing that today? Hmm. Sorry, one of my friends, Blackhearts, is playing Warframe, which is not what he normally plays on Saturday. Hmm. Interesting, interesting. Um, so the um, so to kind of get back on track here, this was an old idea. I tried, considering building this up, back during COVID. Okay, because back in 2020, which has obviously been several years since then, but um, you know, one of the things that I was noticing was a lot of people in need of help. Okay. Um, so, and I was seeing one person trying to do that, trying to like give out help where he could, kind of thing. Um, Personally, I don't think that um, uh, he was only putting very small band-aids on a much larger problem. Okay. And um, I don't think it was enough. Okay. Because some people were talking about, like, hey, I don't have food. I don't have enough money for food. Um, you know, I have a medical bill that came in that I cannot afford. You know, car payments, house payments, mortgage payments. I mean, what have you. And this particular individual was, trying to send money where he could. Now, I don't know what his overall wealth was, but I mean, he was kind of stating that, he was in the like the millionaire bracket kind of thing. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't really know. I'm not going to. I didn't really care about looking into his finances, but I felt like um, he was, like I said, putting a band-aid over a larger problem, which was, some people, sure, they could probably take that, one-time payment for groceries, but, you know, you still had, you know, like if they're like out of work or something like that, then once again they have the same kind of problem. They'll fall right back into that problem later. Now, obviously, you know, um, ideally the best solution is for that person to have a job, but I mean, sometimes, hey, even, problem isn't necessarily on the person themselves. Sometimes it's on the business that, they might actually already work at, you know, not necessarily paying their workers very well. Um, you know, there's a reason why, the top 1% is too much. Um, you know, so the idea for this web page is to try to help out those that are in need of it. Okay, so or to kind of go back over the previous videos. Okay, this is going to be kind of more of a and this video right here is just kind of not only my mind kind of getting back into the swing of things of this particular website, but also to kind of remind people of what the plan is. Okay, so um, so I figured I would um, try to take the one guy's idea um, and try to expound on it. Okay. Um, but do it in such a way where it's easier for people to kind of be, you know, um, it's easier for those that can give to be able to see people that need the help a little bit easier. Okay. At least that was the idea. That was the concept of it. Okay. Because him just kind of like searching through Twitter at that time, trying to find like one person that was saying, I need, help with groceries, that's not going to, um, it's not going to, um, like there was a lot of people asking, okay, and with just himself trying to supply, you know, it's there was a lot more people asking than there were people being able to give. Okay, based off of what I was seeing. Okay. Now other people kind of try to step in and try to help out where they could, but again, it's one of those things where it's like it felt very um, it felt as though it was very disorganized. Okay, so the idea for this was to kind of give a place for people to not only put down that they are in need of help, but also a website for those that can help. Okay. So, um, so first off, you know, uh, obviously, you know, sometimes, obviously, if friends and family can help out you, then great. If you have, you know, um, close friends and family, then maybe they can give you a hand or something like that. If they can. Okay, I'm not saying that it's always possible, but sometimes friends and family are there for a reason. Um, but you know, um, but sometimes we might need to rely on um, on the generosity of strangers sometimes. So the so first section of the website was going to be all about who can actually help. Okay. Now, it could be just like a one-time, hey, I'll help you pay for your groceries. Okay. It just might be that much. Like, hey, I'll just give you a little bit for the groceries, and there you go. Right. Um. So, um, but sometimes it might be like, hey, like I'm in need of a job, or I might need some support in other ways. You know. Um. So we'll get to those that are in need of help. In just in all due time. But um, I wanted a way for them to. I wanted a way for people that can help out to be able to, log into the site and do a search for who needs help. Okay. Now here's the problem with that is that um, you know um, you know it could be kind of dangerous for like the receivers. Okay, because like if they put out too much information, then they could literally like dox themselves. Okay, and that could be dangerous. Okay, I'm not going to say it's not. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do. obviously it's going to take a bit of work. I'm going to try to, you know, hide the information that the receiver gives to, from the giver, from the people that are going to be, helping out. Okay. Because there's obviously, information that they don't necessarily need in certain cases. So, plus, the one of the things that I wanted to try to do is try to put up like a paywall to maybe stop anybody with malicious intent to um, to potentially cause, damage or whatnot. Okay. Um, so, I was thinking I don't necessarily want them, um, you know, I I want people to be able to kind of just, you know, come in, easily. Um, but I still wanted to have, something that could, potentially stop them. Now, is this going to stop all the malicious? No. I'm not going to be able to stop everybody that wants to be malicious. Um, I mean, there's hackers out there that are, you know, that want to do damage or hurt people or steal money or, yeah. So, I'm not going to be able to stop them. Okay. If they want to, steal stuff, then like I don't have those skills to stop them. Okay. So, um, nor do I claim to have, that I don't have those skills. So, um, so first thing that I'm going to do is, basically check to see whether or not, um, if they are willing to give a subscription to the site, okay, as a way to kind of try to distract or try to detract from anybody that wants to try to get in for free and grab information. Okay, try to put up a little bit of a paywall to kind of stop some people, kids or something like that, from quickly hopping in. Like I said, it's not going to stop everybody, but still, figure it's one method. I also don't really want to make the pricing too high because, I mean, some people might just be like, hey, I have a spare $100 or something like that that I want to give out. I don't want to charge large amounts, to stop them from doing that. You get what I'm saying? Um, so, like if they're in the middle class, they're not going to be able to pay like thousands in subscriptions or something like that. I'm not relying, I'm not looking at this and going, hey, this is only for the one percenters. No, it's basically for the like the, um, you know, I'm kind of aiming this more of like the higher middle class or like the lower rich class, I guess. I don't know. People that want to help out. Okay, philanthropy. So that's the that's kind of like my target initially. Okay. Or hey, if even the lower class or low middle class, you know, I don't want this to be, you know, I don't want the paywall to be so high that it just stops anybody from coming in. Okay, so um, now obviously, I'm gonna want their information so that I can try to verify them. Um, try to make sure that they are indeed legit, you know, because I don't want, you know, people to come on in and go, hey, here's $100 check and have it bounce. You see what I'm saying? Um, so, I don't want people getting their lives destroyed by very um, dangerous individuals. Okay. So now, obviously, you know, the this could change based off of nationality. Like I say, city, state, address, phone number. Like, these could all be different based off of you know the nation that they're in. Okay. This website is going to be going, is global. Everybody can see it. So there is that possibility that you know um, we could have people you know in that live in other countries, helping out their own you know other people that are from their particular nation. Like, just as an example, like, maybe there's someone in France that needs some help, and we have a giver that is also French or something like that, and they want to help out. Whatever. I'm just saying, the website shouldn't be um, so closed off that it's just Americans helping Americans kind of thing. So I'm not gonna be that dumb. So, um, but hey, maybe it might be an American helping out, someone from another nation. Someone in Africa, someone in Asia, Australia, South America, whatever, um, th- you know, um, there shouldn't be, you know, charity shouldn't be limited by the borders. Okay. If a person needs help, they should be able to get help no matter where that help is coming from. Okay. That's, you know, I mean, that's, am I wrong? Um, so yeah, that's basically what the giver is kind of all about, for the most part. Just someone that is willing to help out. Um, we give them either like a one-time entry fee, that basically lasts like 24 hours, and then it closes down on them. Or, they can go and, hey, I want to help out someone on a long term, you know, let me go for, subscription based kind of thing. Now, let me talk about those that need help. Now, um, so I don't want to give, I don't want the people that need the help to put down too much information. Okay. I don't want them to put down their phone number, their address, what city they're in. I don't want to give out their zip code, or anything along those lines. Okay. A lot of this information could, dox the person in question, and I don't really want to have that happen to them. Okay. So, and to be honest, someone doesn't necessarily need, if a giver doesn't necessarily need, their phone number, their address, what city they're in, what zip code they're in. It doesn't matter, okay? Or at least those things shouldn't matter, okay? So, um, obviously, the name or whatever name that they want to put down. They could put down like a little code name or something like that if they want to. Again, names could also potentially dox a person, so I don't necessarily mind if they want to just put down, some, code name or something like that. I don't think there's really any problem with that. Um, but and then of course, their email for verification purposes. Um, sometimes the state matters. Um, you know, um, like maybe someone wants to just say like, hey, I want to help out someone else that's in my state. You know, Floridans helping Floridans, Texans helping out Texans. That blah blah blah, right? Or um, maybe someone heard about like the tornado disaster in like Oklahoma or something like that, and they want to help out anybody that's from Oklahoma. They can try to search for people that live in Oklahoma, whatever, right? So, so state's okay. I don't really see state as a problem. So now, obviously, unique name and state can be potentially dangerous, but um, but again, um, I want to try, to help out the receivers as much as I can, to hide, you know, what, um, try to hide as many details as I possibly can just to make sure that they're safe. Okay. I want to try to. Whether or not I can actually pull it off is another question entirely, but, it's the intention. Okay. Nationality, like I mentioned before, if people from one nation wants to help out, their countrymen, then that's fine. You know, like I said, this website shouldn't necessarily be, focused on just one country. It should be available to, you know, the entire world kind of thing. So at least that's my that's my thought line. So, um, as much as I personally don't have, I don't follow any religion personally. Um, you know, doesn't mean that, someone else can't put theirs down. Okay. And if someone wants to, if if a particular giver just wants to help out a particular religious denomination, like Catholics helping out Catholics or something along those lines, then who am I to say otherwise? Okay. Personally, I, um, if a person needs help, religion shouldn't matter. Okay, in my view. Okay, religion really should not matter, depending on who needs help and who can give help. Okay, shouldn't matter. Okay, um, but there might be some that have very set blinders on. Okay, they want to just help out that one particular religion, and that's it. Fine, you know. Um, I'll put that down for anybody that wants that information, or that they want that kind of, narrow view or something like that. Who am I to say otherwise? You know, so um, so you know that's going to be on the board. That's going to be something that can be searched for. Now, then we start getting into what you know a person might need help with. Now, you know, um, ideally, some of these can be quite extensive. You know, like, hey, maybe they want actual employment. So now, um, you know, this one is this one right here. I feel could be very dangerous. Um, because you know anybody that puts down their resume, that's dangerous. That's a lot of information for someone to have. So I'm not gonna say this is not dangerous whatsoever, um, but I figured this is a good one for someone to have. You know, like if they're in need of help by like hey, I need employment, I'm in need of a job. Here's my skill set. Then maybe a giver that has a job, has their own workplace or like maybe owns their own job or something along those lines. Maybe they have a position that they can give. Okay. Um, so, um, or maybe they are part of a business and they basically say, hey, I like what I see on your resume. Submit it to submit it to the business that I'm a part of, and maybe you'll have a chance. So so that's one thing that you know I figure would probably be a pretty big one, right? Now, during COVID, a lot of people were having problems with home loans, car loans, hospital bills, credit cards. So, um, so trying to do payments along those lines could, you know, someone could have like a lot of bills one month and they come up short on their like home loan, car loan, hospital bill, credit card bill, what have you. Um, so now I'm limiting the home loan to one because if you have more than one home, um, it would feel very strange for you to be in the receiver section, I feel. You know, like people are struggling just to even have one home. So if anybody has like two or more, this feels quite, you know, having more than one home loan would be quite odd. So so I'm giving the receivers only one home loan that they can put down. I mean, if they have two for some strange reason, then okay, but they're not going to be able to put down both. Okay, I'm not gonna allow for that. Car loan. Hey, some people could have multiple cars. Why they have multiple cars, and are struggling, maybe they need to kind of figure something better out on that. But I mean, you know, let's face it. You could be, you know, dealing with a household that, you know, like you have two jobs kind of going in separate directions. Like the husband is going in one direction, the wife is going in the other direction. They need two cars, to get to their jobs at the same time or something like that. They might need to take their cars out and work with them, kind of thing. So I can understand the need for multiple cars. why anybody would want to have multiple car loans, and I don't even know if that's technically even possible, but um, because some um, I'm wouldn't be too surprised if like some banks would be quite wary about trying to give like multiple loans at the same time. So, but I mean, it might be a situation where like you know someone gets married and both of them had a car loan at the time. Now you have more than one, you know. So, you know, that's that's a potential possibility there. Okay. So, hospital bills, oh yeah. There's always, if you're dealing with hospitals and like on a regular basis, more than one, quite possible. So, so I understand that. Same with credit cards. You know, technically, in my opinion, no one should be using these because they are a blight. But at the same time, um, people want to have that credit score, which is pure BS in my opinion. But whatever. Um, so you know, but hey, you might have multiple credit cards and you might be struggling paying them off. So I mean, there's that possibility. Um, some people might just want, like a one-time payment. Like, hey, I need some help with some grocery bills. So, so websites that allow for like one-time payments, you know, um, you know, that should be fine. Okay. Um, I the one thing that I would have to be kind of worried about along this line would be I wouldn't necessarily want someone to be like, hey, I need like $100 for groceries, right? And they put down their Venmo account or whatever, right? Um, um, it would be it would feel very weird, for someone to say like, "Hey, I need $100 for grocery bills," and then suddenly they get like 10 people flooding in and saying, "Here's the $100. Here's $100," and now they have like $1,000. you know, um, when they just asked for 100. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that the person would love that thousand. That would definitely help them out. But um, but I'm thinking to myself, maybe I might need to kind of mention whether or not someone has actually like, paid that. Although I don't know how I would be able to confirm, payments along these lines. Um, so can I confirm payments? You know, because, you know, um, because, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, you asked for you asked for $100 and suddenly like, 10 people come in and give you $100. You know, um, I don't necessarily want people kind of getting them, getting some problems with that, with their own taxes or whatnot, or um, you know, um, and I don't necessarily want someone to just have like, hey, I need $100 for groceries and leave it up, and they're like getting like $100 like every month, or like maybe every day, and it's like, okay, well, they've already gotten it, you know, I don't necessarily, I don't want someone to be kind of cheating the system when, um, like, they ask for $100, they get 900 more that could have gone to someone else that might also need $100. You get what I'm saying? You know, um, you know, I'm, I understand that some people wouldn't mind that extra money, but I don't necessarily want receivers to get greedy either, if you get what I'm saying. I don't necessarily want people, um, you know, basically saying, hey, um, you know, um, you know, I want to keep on getting this money and stuff like that on a regular basis. I mean, Patreon is a thing, for example. So, you know, that's something for like, multiple payments. So, or on a subscription based. So, just saying, um, so yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, um, this should be like a one-off payment, and it should, potentially go away after that payment is given, kind of thing. Like if they're asking for like $100 or something like that, then they should get that payment, and then it should, technically kind of close on out. That's my thinking. So, um, now, GoFundMe's obviously, um, those are definitely worthwhile for those that are in desperate need of help. Okay, or they might want to try to be generous to someone that they feel, needs more help. Okay, um, and that's, quite understandable. You know, now the problem with these GoFundMe pages is that, um, you know, obviously they don't have a lot of. Sometimes people that are in need of help on these GoFundMe pages don't really have a lot of eyes on those GoFundMe pages, um, which is kind of a sad thing. Um, that some people are asking for help on these GoFundMe pages, and they're not necessarily getting the help that they're asking for. Um, so um, now some of them, you know, might just be greedy and say you know, oh my gosh, I stubbed my toe. I need $1,000, or well, maybe not $1,000, but maybe it's like, hey, I need $1,000,000 because I stubbed my toe, or something silly like that, right? So I mean, I get it. Those, you know, you're gonna have people like that. I get it, but some of them might be, you know, quite legitimate. Quite, like they might want to help out someone that is, struggling. You know, Now, obviously, if they're like, struggling with like hospital bills, and that's why I have these hospital bills sections down there. But still, you know, if people want to link their GoFundMe pages, then they can go ahead and do that. Um, and then of course, this section here is more for like the streamers kind of thing. Um, no, I mean Patreon could be, for anybody else, beyond streamers, but still, I figure, YouTube, Twitch, you know, that could, if people want to, put that on their page or something like that, like, hey, my page, for example, then, they can put that down and, like maybe they're looking for, particular sponsorship or something like that, and maybe like, hey, this, one of the givers might actually be part of that particular company that they're, and that, uh, the receiver's hoping for. Like maybe the receiver is like a Twitch streamer that absolutely loves sports. Does everything sports related. Okay. Sports. Basketball, baseball, football, um, soccer, um, you know, whatever, right? Um, so maybe they're looking for, like a small sponsorship from one of the, um, from one of those particular groups or something like that. You know, I don't. The likelihood is probably still kind of low that someone from like say the NBA would be like part of the giver and they would be willing to hand out sponsorships like that. But you never know. Things could get crazy. You know, I'm not gonna say it's never gonna happen. I'm just saying likelihood is gonna be low. Okay, so but I don't want to necessarily say that someone can't get a sponsorship. So that's one of the reasons why I give this as an option for anybody that wants it, kind of thing. Now, obviously, they're Twitch streamer or YouTuber might have to kind of jump through hoops for the sponsorship, but hey, you know, they might be willing to um, to get more. They might be willing to do that. Just saying. So, um, and last but not least, um, maybe they don't necessarily want, um, they don't necessarily need help themselves, but maybe they want people to like donate to like certain charities or nonprofits or something along those lines. They feel like that it's a good cause. It might not necessarily, help them directly, but maybe they feel like, this particular charity is for a good cause. Please help them out. Blah blah blah. Right. So I give these as options, available for those individuals. And last but not least, like out of everything that I've covered here, there might be some other ideas or possibilities that the receiver might be asking for that doesn't necessarily fall within this particular scope, which I would figure, uh, there's a lot here already, so it would seem quite odd for it to not fall within what I've already given, but you never know. There might be some other things that I'm not fully aware of that might be outside of this kind of thing. Um, Now there might be some other parts of it, and they might be like actual legitimate concerns, right? Like maybe someone might be like a small business owner, or they might be like a small business fishing company or something like that. Like they go out, they try to catch some fish that they sell on the market, and then suddenly their boat springs a leak. They don't have the money to do the necessary repairs. Then that might. I mean, it's not technically falling under the other because I mean, if they just want like simple repairs, then they could just kind of go with like the single payments or something along those lines. But maybe they actually have like a boat loan or something like that. You know, um, I'm trying to. I didn't feel like the boat loans would be um a great look. Um, because it's not something that I would consider too much as like something that's a necessity per se. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, things like Patreon, YouTube, and Twitch aren't necessarily necessities either, but still, I want um, you know, boat loans. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of more um, very narrow. I mean, I'm not gonna say that that's something that isn't possible. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll consider putting it in, but for right now, I'm gonna hold off on that. You know. Um, but hey, maybe you know there's other ways to kind of raise money if they need to besides you know there's other ways you know but if there's something that's like outside of everything that's kind of given here, you know like maybe they want to set up like a carpool, although again that would be very dangerous. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that per se, and plus you know, why would a giver really care about carpools? But still, um, I have this other here just as a catch-all, you know, as a, you know, like if nothing, if what they need is doesn't necessarily fit in uh in the set, then they can go into the other. Um, so so now I don't have that much time left. I'm gonna close down this video because, like I said, this is just kind of um, a review again about what the website is all about. Um, so, um, so the website pages, you know, we're gonna have, the main homepage. We're gonna have the giver pages that is just gonna be basically like search for the most part. Okay, but they're gonna need a login. Same with receiver and their login. We're gonna have like an about page, and why I picked the name of Hood and Saute. But Um, but this is all, um, not like super necessary information kind of thing. Um, you know, the idea of this is to be more of a like a nonprofit, you know, um, like all, you know, like if if the site, starts making more money than um like, don't get me wrong, you know, I wouldn't mind having, people handle, also kind of working on the site, people like managing customer service or, so on and so forth, dealing with problems, dealing with billing, dealing with press, so on and so forth. Like, there might be actual employees, you know, here on this site, potentially in the future. Um, then, you know, one would hope that the, you know, the giver subscriptions will be able to help out with that. Be able to, you know, actually pay people's wages. Okay. Um, so, um, but, I'm not necessarily, that might take a while. um, so, um, so I'm not, this might be a bit, challenging to try to set up. I'm not going to say that it's going to be super easy. Yeah, I know. I know that, trying to construct something like this and um, make it, usable and self-sufficient and stuff like that is not going to be it's not going to be an easy process and stuff like that. But so, um, but obviously, try to have contact information down so people can kind of contact, me and anybody else that, you know, could potentially get hired, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, we have like a regular blog. Um, maybe I'll have like a social media manager or something like that that, kind of talks about it. Or like, hey, they might be saying like, hey, we have a lot of people flooding into the website that needs a lot of help with hospital bills, and they'll address it or something along those lines. So that's the blog. Um, and then of course, the workflow, of the web pages and stuff like that. What we can kind of do. What we're kind of looking at. Um, and I'm not quite sure what's down below, so I'm gonna hold off on showing that for right now. So, but that's kind of a review of the website in the past. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be pretty much, the full review of it. So we'll go back into trying to work on it again, see what we can do there, see what we can build. Um, you know, I tried, I started working on it, so I'm probably gonna need to kind of review my last recording, see where I left off, and then and go from there. But but there's probably a lot of additional tools that I could probably add into the website that might help me out. So, um, so yeah. But that's going to be it for this particular section. I'm going to go ahead and close on down here. I want to thank everybody that was just kind of lurking and watching right at this time. Check out the description for multiple links down below. Um, like and subscribe would be fantastic. Um, but yeah, that's going to be it for this portion of the stream. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I catch you next time. But until then, take care. Have a good night. Stay healthy. Stay safe. I'll catch you strangers next time.